Welcome back, friends. You are listening to the Juicebox Podcast.
Well, hi there. My name is Nicole. I live in a suburb of Chicago, and I'm pleased to be here on the Juicebox Podcast.
If this is your first time listening to the Juicebox Podcast and you'd like to hear more, download Apple Podcasts or Spotify, really any audio app at all. Look for the Juicebox Podcast and follow or subscribe. We put out new content every day that you'll enjoy. Want to learn more about your diabetes management? Go to juiceboxpodcast.com up in the menu and look for Bold Beginnings, the Diabetes Pro Tip series, and much more. This podcast is full of collections and series of information that will help you to live better with insulin. Please don't forget that nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan or becoming bold with insulin. Today's podcast is sponsored by US Med. usmed.com/juicebox. You can get your diabetes supplies from the same place that we do. And I'm talking about Dexcom, Libre, Omnipod, Tandem, and so much more. usmed.com/juicebox or call 888-721-1514. Today's episode is sponsored by the Tandem Mobi system with Control-IQ Plus technology. If you are looking for the only system with auto bolus, multiple wear options, and full control from your personal iPhone, you're looking for Tandem's newest pump and algorithm. Use my link to support the podcast, tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. Check it out. The episode you're about to enjoy was brought to you by Dexcom. The Dexcom G7, the same CGM that my daughter wears. You can learn more and get started today at my link, dexcom.com/juicebox.
Well, hi there. My name is Nicole. I live in a suburb of Chicago, and I'm pleased to be here on the Juicebox Podcast.
Nicole, I'm pleased for you to be here as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a very a Michelle Obama quality about your voice. Has anybody ever told you that before?
No, never.
I think it's the Chicago thing.
It's possible.
Yeah, but it's coming right through. Like, so have you always been in Chicago or not always?
Yes, born and raised. I had a short stint in college where I moved to South Carolina for a summer for an internship, but always have been here.
No kidding. Awesome. You like the area. No reason to leave?
I do. My family is here, so I plan to stay.
Ah, I see. It's too cold for you, but your family's there. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm saying that, yes, because I just went to Clearwater, Florida a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the warm is nice sometimes. Clearwater.
Indeed.
What were you there for?
Nothing. Relaxation, eat, sleep, repeat.
Very nice. I've only been there once, twice maybe, and I went down for spring training for the Phillies, actually.
Oh, wow.
And we spent
for yourself?
My son and I and my brother went down, and we basically went to spring training games all week and then hung out on the beach and did other stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. So what brings you on the podcast today?
So I remember that about a couple months ago, you got on the private Facebook group, and you threw out a post that said, hey, my 1 o'clock isn't working out, or whatever time it was. Is there anybody who could record for an hour? Click this link. And so there were a number of us that clicked that link. And there were 3 of us with you at the time. And then you took the post down and we had a chat.
Yes, that one's going to come out soon, actually. That one's almost done. Oh, yeah, that was great. You know what ended up happening for people listening is that, first of all, I underestimated myself. I thought like, oh, I'll be lucky, like someone will be able to do it. And then a lot of people were able to do it. And I was like, oh, no. Now there's already 3 people in here. So I just put a stop to it, basically. And then I wanted it to just be like, and I thought the conversation was nice, the way it went back and forth between a number of people. But
yes,
as you guys were going on and on, it just became obvious that each of you would have made a great episode. So here we are. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a good time, but we're going to have a better time right now.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about your health background.
I've been pretty healthy. Yeah. I work out a lot, cardio, weightlifting. I had not had any issues with my health probably up until late 2022. July or August, I found a lump under my arm and then one in my breast. And so I scheduled an appointment for a mammogram, and then several tests later, appointment with an oncologist, and I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer in October of 2022. And then I started chemo in November of 2022.
What's distinction triple negative? What does that mean?
So it's negative for all of the hormone receptors like estrogen, progesterone, whatever the third one is.
Is that news we want to hear or don't want to hear in that situation?
You never want to hear any of it.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, no, not that you want it, but like, is there, once you're there, is there a, I don't know, better is the right word, but like more favorable for outcomes?
I think that the hormone positive is better for outcomes. However, because once you're finished with chemo and radiation, if you go through it, then they put you on like 5 years of some type of aftercare pill to keep everything at bay.
Mm-hmm.
And with triple negative, there is no aftercare. You go through your chemo and radiation if you choose it, like I said, and then they just kind of watch you every 6 months. I get a CT scan.
Okay.
And then I follow up with my oncologist.
And that's been going on for 3 years almost?
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to kind of go backwards. So you get that news. I mean, I assume the lumps themselves are pretty worrisome, but, I imagine you do your best to regulate yourself till you get back the diagnosis. But once the diagnosis comes, what mind frame does that put you into?
I'm going to kill it. I'm just going to beat it. I'm going to be successful. And that's that.
Yeah. You just felt right away like, okay, I'll fight the fight.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then what's the next step? What did you have done after you decided how you were going to handle it?
They scheduled me to get a port, which is like a catheter in your chest, so that they can get the drug infusion through that port instead of a different IV in your arm every time you come.
Yeah.
So they set up my treatment plan, which was 12 weeks weekly. And then once I finished with that, then it was 4 treatments, 3 weeks apart. So in total, that is 8 rounds of chemo.
Okay. And are the lumps removed? Is the breast removed? Like, how do they handle all that?
So then once you finish, and I had a couple of hiccups here and there. My white blood count, I want to say, was too low. So they give you I had to miss a week of chemo for that. And then they give you something to get it together, and then you can resume. So that pushed my treatment plan back a week or so.
Okay.
And then toward the end, my thyroid decided to give up the ghost. So the range for normal is like 0 to 4.
Okay.
And mine was like 84.
Your TSH jumped to 84?
Yes.
Wow. It definitely stopped working, huh?
Yeah. That was like a first sign. So hadn't had, many other fall off the cliff moments, but that one. So
was the thyroid a thing they were tracking, or did you just get so ill that they started looking for it?
Yes, I had labs, I want to say weekly, because they wanted to make sure you were okay for the next treatment.
Right.
So they were monitoring everything. And then the previous time it was normal, but maybe trending a little higher. And then the next time it was way high.
Is the common wisdom that the treatment causes the thyroid problem, or is it bad luck?
The treatments are known to have several side effects. There is one particular drug, I hear the commercials for it now, and how they rattle off the side effects. And I was like, yeah, that happened to me.
I got that one. Thank you. And so thyroid issues are one of them. Is type 1 diabetes one of them, or no?
It is.
Is type 2? Do you know?
I don't know if they differentiate.
Oh, or if they just say diabetes. Okay, sorry. So you get the thyroid labs back. How do they manage that?
I'm on levothyroxine. I don't remember what the doses was at the beginning, and it's gone up and down since that time. So that was probably in April of 2023 that happened.
Okay. Is that about a year after your treatments or not quite?
6 months. So
6 months.
we go from starting treatment in November of 22 to finishing in April of 23.
Okay. Is that news, I don't know, like I guess a lot goes to your personality and your how you deal with things, but does that news of the thyroid feel like, oh gosh, another thing? Or did it just feel like, okay, fine, I'll take the pill? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how did it strike you when you heard?
Like, I didn't want to be on a medication for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So this isn't what I want. And they said some people's resolve once they finish chemo, but mine has not yet.
Okay. Is it late enough now to think that it won't, or is there hope there for that still?
I always have hope.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay. So your levothyroxine, you must take a fair amount of it. If it is, do you know what your dose is right now?
100 micrograms.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
And I take that once a day, every day, except on Sundays. Now I take 2 pills.
Oh, you got a good endo.
Well,
you figured this out on your own? How did this go?
I love my endo, but I was really feeling fatigued recently within the last 3 to 4 months. And I had been listening to the podcast, of course, and listening to you talk about your wife and your daughter and how the range of acceptable is, from here to there, but sometimes you need to be north of the middle, etc. So I was like, I'm doing all the things. I'm working out almost every day. I'm having a calorie deficit. Yes, by this time, I am using insulin full time, but something else is wrong. It can't be anything else but my thyroid. So we had a little exchange and she wasn't willing, but then she they had a cancellation in the office. She was able to bring me in. So I went and I met with her and she said, well, you know what? If you think it would help, I don't think it's going to. You can take an extra half a pill. So that's how I got to having 2 pills on one day.
Once a week, yeah. There's a lot of different ways to, if you're a person, for example, who has trouble remembering your medication, there are some doctors who will tell you to take 7 days worth of it on one day.
Oh.
And then just do it once a week. I mean, I definitely talk to your doctor about that first, but I've heard people adjust or mess with how that medication goes in a number of different ways. So,
okay.
But that's awesome because, I think my wife is on a schedule where she doesn't take it like literally like one day a month or something. I've seen other schedules for Arden where she takes a second pill twice a month, like every 2 weeks. The doctors who know how to dose that medication, the ones who really know are impressive with it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that helped, that little extra half a pill changed your the way you were feeling?
It did.
Awesome. See how easy? See, everybody?
It did.
Just timing and amount, right? Everything to some degree or not. Okay. So you have your thyroid, you're working that out. At what point do they tell you have type 2 diabetes in this process?
I finished chemo in April. I went for my last scan. So about a month out from your last chemo, they wait for everything to settle. So in May, which was right after my last, I went for my PET scan. I think I had a PET scan. They took my blood, they ran my labs, and my blood sugar was 424.
Ah, that's too high.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, how's that happen? You said you're active, right? You're exercising, you stay in a calorie deficit at times. Like you're doing all the things.
Yes.
Yeah. And did they just say type 2 right away, or how does that process go? You can manage diabetes confidently with the powerfully simple Dexcom G7. Dexcom.com/juicebox. The Dexcom G7 is the CGM that my daughter is wearing. The G7 is a simple CGM system that delivers real-time glucose numbers to your smartphone or smartwatch. The G7 is made for all types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2, but also people experiencing gestational diabetes. The Dexcom G7 can help you spend more time in range, which is proven to lower A1C. The more time you spend in range, the better and healthier you feel. And with the Dexcom Clarity app, you can track your glucose trends, and the app will also provide you with a projected A1C in as little as 2 weeks. If you're looking for clarity around your diabetes, you're looking for Dexcom. Dexcom.com/juicebox. When you use my link, you're supporting the podcast. Dexcom.com/juicebox. Head over there now. Let's talk about the Tandem Mobi insulin pump from today's sponsor, Tandem Diabetes Care. Their newest algorithm, Control-IQ Plus technology, and the new Tandem Mobi pump offer you unique opportunities to have better control. It's the only system with auto bolus that helps with missed meals and preventing hyperglycemia. The only system with a dedicated sleep setting, and the only system with off or on body wear options. Tandem Mobi gives you more discretion, freedom, and options for how to manage your diabetes. This is their best algorithm ever, and they'd like you to check it out at tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. When you get to my link, you're going to see integrations with Dexcom sensors and a ton of other information that's going to help you learn about Tandem's tiny pump that's big on control. tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox. The Tandem Mobi system is available for people ages 2 and up who want an automated delivery system to help them sleep better, wake up in range, and address high blood sugars with auto bolus.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
So my primary care physician said, well, looked at my history. I hadn't had any problem. My A1C was in the normal range for the last few years. It's possibly, type 2. She gave me a prescription for metformin. Off I went. Hopefully it'll resolve itself once the chemo gets out of your system. And by June, so like a month later, in that month, I was noticing my blood sugars really were not going down. I do believe I was doing finger stick at that time. I would check my blood sugars, I believe 3 times a day when I would get up and then maybe before each meal. So I remember going to Aruba and it just was not working. So I went in on the portal to the doctor's office and I don't remember, she might have been out of the office, but they connected me with a different physician in the practice. And he gave me an extra. So this must have been right before I went to Aruba. So he put me on glimepiride. And I don't remember what the dosage was or if I was supposed to take it once or twice. But along the way, they were increasing the metformin. It wasn't helping. So when I got back from Aruba, I went into the office. I don't remember a lot of anything coming out of that. But by July 16th, I told my mother, I said, Mom, if my blood sugar does not come down, I'm going to the emergency room.
Because you needed a different doctor or because you thought you were medically in trouble?
I just felt like something else needed to be done because the metformin wasn't working and the other medication wasn't working. Something was wrong and it needed to be addressed.
Nicole, our AI overlords say that a 400 blood sugar, even with chemotherapy, is likely diabetes, not a result of chemotherapy. Apparently, the level of your blood sugar should have told them that maybe it's not as easy as like this is going to go away. Maybe when your chemo is done. Yeah, it's interesting. And how long were you on the oral med and not seeing any relief from it? And what were they telling you during it?
Probably a month.
Okay.
At one point it increased. And I want to say I didn't like the increase because it was taking my appetite.
Oh, okay. And is that already an issue with chemo?
I think that's an issue with metformin. Because I was finished with chemo by then.
I gotcha. Okay. Did you experience it with chemo, the not being able to eat?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that because of nausea or just because of lack of hunger or a combination?
A combination.
Okay. So you're on this for a month. They up it. It takes away your desire to eat, which is terrible. Mm-hmm. But those blood sugars are not moving?
Not very much. They would, go down to something, go up to 3 something, back and forth.
I gotcha. Okay. So you told your mom that, then what ended up happening?
I checked myself in and they did like an EKG. They took my vitals. After a while, they took me back. They put me on like a hydration. What is that called, Scott?
IV?
An IV with the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So then they kept doing finger sticks and I think they took blood. So hourly, they would come in and check on me. And it was late. And then I believe I had the on-call endocrinologist to come in and say, well, we checked and you have basically that you have type 1 because you have one of the antibodies.
They said we checked and you had an antibody and
that was positive.
It looks like type 1. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
so that means you're going to have to take insulin.
Okay. So I'm going to keep asking you this question along the way. How does that hit you? You didn't want to take a pill and you're doing that under protest. So what happens when somebody tells you insulin? You've probably heard me talk about US Med and how simple it is to reorder with US Med using their email system. But did you know that if you don't see the email and you're set up for this, you have to set it up. They don't just randomly call you, but I'm set up to be called if I don't respond to the email because I don't trust myself 100%. So one time I didn't respond to the email and the phone rings at the house. It's like, ring, you know how it works. And I picked it up. I was like, hello. And it was just a recording. It was like, US Med. Doesn't actually sound like that, but you know what I'm saying. It said, hey, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's basically like, hey, your order's ready. You want us to send it? Push this button if you want us to send it. Or if you'd like to wait, I think it lets you put it off like a couple of weeks or push this button for that. That's pretty much it. I pushed the button to send it. And a few days later, box right at my door. That's it. usmed.com/juicebox or call 888-721-1514. Get your free benefits checked now and get started with US Med. Dexcom, Omnipod, Tandem, Freestyle. They've got all your favorites. Even that new eyelet pump. Check them out now at usmed.com/juicebox or by calling 888-721-1514. There are links in the show notes of your podcast player and links at juiceboxpodcast.com to US Med and to all of the sponsors.
I don't know what that meant to me in the time and space, me being in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that it really registered, but I do remember him, like I can't remember if I was in my room by then. They fully got me a room or if I was still down in the ER in the cubicles. But he explained about the insulin pens and the long acting and the short acting, and that I would have to get an appointment with an endocrinologist in a couple weeks. And I think he helped to get me in quicker with one of the endos. But yeah, no, I was resistant.
Did you have that feeling of like, no, I could probably manage it with this metformin? You just didn't give me enough of it yet. Were you resolved and understood it wasn't type 2?
Yes.
Okay. But resistant in the idea that this is going to be your process. So then explain to me then what the next couple of days and weeks look like when that's your feeling, you're leaving you're a grown person. You know what I mean? Like you're not going home. Maybe you'll call your mom to check in, but you're not going home to an adult who oversees you, who's going to help, right? It's on you. Are you married? I'm sorry. I don't even know.
I am not. I have a 17-year-old son and my mom. I have, small family, but a host of friends took really good care of me, all of them.
Very nice.
While I was ill and going through. So I was kept in the hospital for 2 nights because I was in, I'd say, a mild DKA.
Mm-hmm.
But they hydrated me, test. Something came back odd with my heart. And the cardiologist wanted to put me on something. I'm like, I'm not taking that. There's nothing wrong with my heart. They then did a stress test and all that came back fine.
This is all in the course of how much time? A year and a half, maybe? Like from the beginning of the lump to this moment?
Almost a year.
Not even a year.
Maybe 9 months.
A lot happening in your life.
I did. Chemo was 6 months. And then right after that, the thyroid. Right after that, the diabetes.
Right. And you're raising a 17-year-old at the same time?
Yeah, he's 17 now. He was 15 then.
Oh gosh, that's an age right there. He's looking for you, right? So
yes.
So you have that pressure as well. Your mom live with you, helps you with that?
No, she lives nearby. But she did move in for a few weeks.
Yeah, I bet. I would have moved in.
Chemo.
How old are you now?
I am 55.
Yeah, I still would have moved in. I would have been like, guess what? I'm going to hobble my ass over there and sit in that house for a while with you. Oh my gosh. Did you guys ever talk about it? You and your mom quietly?
About which part?
Just that your health was, going to be the main focus for a while and that you were going to need assistance with raising your son and probably, taking care of life in general? Did you ask her to come or did she offer herself, I guess?
I would say she did both.
Mm-hmm.
At first, she was like, well, how can I help? What do you want me to do? I can get all my things. I can come over. We can stay, and that's my best friend.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really great. Any point during this first year, are you thinking about your own mortality or you are locked pretty much in on I'm fighting, I'm winning?
I think that I never, you think about it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like I'm fighting this, I'm riding continuously and still till the wheels fall off. So I do what I think I need to do. I'm prayerful. I try still to be healthy. And what I fought, Scott, was the pump.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So somebody said, hey, an insulin pump might be the way to go. And you were like, this is my line. I'm not going farther than this.
It was kind of that. So June 16th, 17th or so, I was in the hospital. I probably got my endo appointment at the beginning of August. They also set me up with a really great diabetes educator.
Mm-hmm.
They had a diabetes center at the hospital close to me. So I had support. But you probably know how it is. I'm drinking from the fire hose. And all I want is information. So I get on the internet. I'm like, I'm on Facebook. There's got to be some groups. I need some education. I'm Googling everything. They're telling me these things. And information comforts me. So that's how I found the podcast. Yeah. And it's been immensely helpful. But I did not want to pump. I got the CGM. I was on the G7 to begin with. And diabetes office, my endocrinologist's office, she had a pharmacist who could work with people longer than she could. So she and I would talk periodically, like when I would have my appointments, they could be for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, they could be an hour. And she was just educating me and listening to how I eat and, how I was processing and how I was doing with the MDI and all of that. And a couple times she would say, I think you should get on a pump and you have to carry this little controller. And I'm like, I'm not carrying two phones and I don't want to wear two devices. And I cried and cried. And I said, you know what? I got to do it because I'm not managing well on my own.
What do you think the resistance is? Is it looking for control or is it not wanting to be controlled by something? Or do you have any hindsight on the not wanting the pump feeling?
Probably thinking I could do it myself. The pump made it so much easier. So, you know how you're kind of kicking yourself for not doing it sooner, but your process is yours.
Yeah. No, for sure. It takes a little while to get through it. What got you through it? Was it time? Was it seeing other people, the counsel of the person that was helping you? Like, what got you over the hump?
I think it was that I couldn't manage it myself and be within range. I was always high and, I was documenting everything, all my meals, go in an app, and I would look at the carb ratio and I would give my sliding scale, whatever that was at the time, and it would do what it did. And then I would report back. So they just found me to be very meticulous with my health and my eating and just thought I would be a good candidate for the Omnipod 5 because also I'm still active. So tubeless was the way for me. But I think the education and just realizing I need some additional help.
Yeah. I remember you popping up in the group in the beginning. And I think it's something to do with like you have like a hyphenated or like a 3-name name. I don't know if some things stick to my head differently. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyway, I remember you were just voracious for information. Like always, like if I was there, like if I popped up, you were there.
Absolutely.
And you had a question and I saw you interacting with people and asking questions and talking back and you used that space, I think exactly the way people should use it. Is it fair to say that it propelled you through, fast forwarded you through the process?
I think it did.
Yeah.
It was exactly what I needed in perfect time.
Good. I'm glad. And I'm glad that you found a way to the pump. So, but talk for a minute about what struggling looked like. Were you honeymooning at that time when you were struggling, an MDI, or was it just your lack of understanding? Like, what do you attribute that time of struggle to?
I doubt that I was honeymooning. Like I said, I think the pancreas just gave up the ghost.
Yeah.
And then, so they were running around. such a brittle diabetic. No, you don't understand and I don't understand, but we're going to get to it.
The endo called you that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Listening to a lot of what you were saying on your podcast and whatnot, it's not that you're brittle. It's just that you don't have the knowledge. You don't understand perhaps the timing and the ratios. And we were getting all of that under control. So one time I was like, hey, I'm not brittle. She stopped saying that.
You got her to stop?
Yeah. On her own. I was like, hey, stop saying that.
Yeah. So it's such a shame because, I mean, obviously I think what you just said, but timing and amount is so much of insulin use, and just thoughtfully putting insulin in the right places, understanding the different impacts of different foods. And, if you have those levers pulled, slightly wrong, your knobs dialed a little incorrectly, everything seems like it's happening for reasons you can't wrap your head around. Like, so much so that it's a joke throughout the diabetes community, right? I can do the same thing today that I did yesterday and I get a different outcome, except the same thing didn't happen.
Sure.
You're just not seeing what's different. And once you can step back far enough to see the differences, whether it just be I injected my slow-acting insulin in my thigh yesterday and today I put it in my stomach, or I'm on the third day of a insulin pump infusion set versus a fifth day or a second day or the first day, like there is something different. Are my hormones different, right? Is my sleep different last night? Do I have more adrenaline happening? Like, there are a ton of variables. And yet the way people will kind of colloquially talk about it is like, oh, I did the same thing and, blah, blah, blah. I ate the same foods and the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not the same. You're not seeing it. But to leap over all of that as a physician, to leap over all of that and then just look at somebody and go, you're brittle. I mean, it's a give up on their part. I think they're saying, like, I don't know how to help you. You're brittle. The word is incredibly insulting just in general. I would think takes away a lot of your confidence. I mean, imagine if someone called you brittle, forget diabetes, for any reason. You're at work and you say something and someone goes, oh, you're brittle. Like, how are you supposed to rebound from that exactly?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you knew not to take that seriously because of the conversations and listening to the podcast?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's really great. It makes me happy. Awesome. So, okay. So she stopped saying brittle, and what happened next?
So, I have to be honest. It's been 2 years that I've been type 1 and had to use insulin. I'm still getting an understanding, but it comes in waves. I got the pump in October of 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wearing 2 devices, but I'm so grateful that the technology is here and different than what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Not that I have it so easy, but technology is my friend, and I'm grateful for all of the advances that they have made to help us to live a normal and healthy and productive life.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, this industry, you hear people complain sometimes like, oh, they're making money off of my illness. And I take your point, but at least they're making the stuff. I mean, the alternative, you don't want to think about the alternative. If there wasn't money in this, these companies wouldn't exist, and everybody be running around still, with a meter and, some needles and hoping for the best. And, you do those interviews with those older folks that have lived through that, and that didn't end well for people most of the time. So yeah, this is an awesome time. Also, I want to ask you, maybe I'm inferring from having spoken to you for a very short amount of time and just watching you online, but you strike me as a bright, thoughtful person who is never going to feel like enough information is enough. And at the same time, I imagine you as a person who is, I don't want to say hard on themselves about outcomes, but I think you have high expectation, I guess, for yourself. Is that fair?
Okay. It's true. You are psychic. I do have high expectations for myself because between the diabetes educator and my endo and the pharmacist, you're doing a really good job. Well, no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be doing better, and I want a better A1C, and I want a better time and range. Now, my time and range now is pretty good. It's maybe 85%. I'm trying to dial all of it in. And so, with the variables with driving to work in Chicago rush hour traffic, like I just heard you say, or I just saw you say to someone in your post pre-bolus for the adrenaline. What? Thank you, Scott.
Oh, that was today. Somebody asked
Today,
about,
just an hour ago.
How do I handle my kid going off to school? I'm seeing like adrenaline spikes. And
Yes.
I was like, I would first make sure you know what's going to happen. And then I'd pre-bolus for the adrenaline. And that's how I did it with Arden when she, was in high school, and she would get, I think, I don't know, nervous or whatever on her way to school. We were bolusing. I used to drive Arden in the morning. Like the last thing I would say to her probably when we left the house is like, okay, like it's time to like bolus for the day. And she'd have to give herself insulin for whatever that rise was coming. So
sometimes I creep when I'm getting dressed. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's you not wanting to go to work probably.
Well.
Or thinking about life or whatever in the back of your head. But I do want to go back just briefly. I don't do this enough anymore where I get smug for a second. But I only know Nicole from like her posts on Facebook and maybe 20 minutes that I spoke to her in another recording that you guys probably have heard already by now. If I tell you online you're crazy, you're crazy. If I tell you you're something, just trust me. I'm good at this. I'm very good at seeing people. I don't know if I see myself well, but I see other people really well. You strike me as a go-getter. You strike me as a person who wins usually at things they try to do, does not give up easily, and someone who's going to take an 85% time in range and wonder how this could be a little better. But without, and again, you stop me if I'm wrong, but I don't see you as a person who beats yourself up about it. I just see you as an information in, information out person.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I think you're a good judge of character. I see it, periodically when I see some of your posts, I'm like, okay, so who went bananas in the group? It doesn't matter, but listen to what Scott's saying here and stop it.
I'm not nowhere near perfect, but I am a good parental figure. Like, I don't know like how that worked out for me exactly. Like, again, I've 1,000 things I could do differently or better. But when I'm assessing other people, I'm incredibly accurate usually. I don't know where that comes from. I don't even know if I want to call it a gift. It just, it comes in very handy with the job I have, I guess.
It does. And I just want to say thank you for just saying that. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course. Nicole, as well as a person could who has never met you and only sees you through internet writings, I feel like I see you. You give me a lot of hope when I'm doing what I'm doing because you are a person who I see show up and say, I can figure this out. Like, I know the answers are here. I will mine them out myself and put them into practice because that's the last step of this that I can't do for people.
Yes. This is true.
I had a business conversation this morning. I don't know if it's going to work out. I feel like it might. I don't want to use any names yet, but there's this company they're basically offering like direction for children for a lot of different things, but diabetes is one of the things they're doing. And they've kind of gamified it a little bit, right? Like the information that they want people to have, what would your endo want you to know, but they don't have time to tell you, like that kind of stuff. But how do you actually get people interested in it? And how do you get the kids to listen to it? How do you get the parents to listen to it? So this company has set up this situation where you get you should get a backpack and a Chromebook, and the Chromebook is locked down and it has this gaming system on it. And the kids need tokens to play the game. And they get the tokens when their parents complete training stuff. So it's set up so the kids will bug the parents to go do the thing they're supposed to do so they can get the tokens to play the game. And when you stop and really look at it, it's somebody saying, we know that there's information people need, but it's hard to get them to go get it. And how do we get them interested in it? And, parents are busy and they're tired and they don't have time. And that's probably how a lot of these balls get dropped. But what if the kid was coming to them constantly and saying like, look, you just have to watch this 15-minute thing or listen to this 10-minute thing and I'll get another 1,000 tokens that I can keep playing with. And then the playing is also informative for the kid. And if it works, it'll, they've tested with it. They see it works. And when I say works, it's how do you get it into a lot of people's hands, right? Like that's always the problem with everything. They wanted to know if they could start off by putting like the small sips episodes of the podcast in there. And I was like, awesome, because this is my biggest problem too, right? Like, how do you get people to do what's best for them?
Yeah.
That's really hard. And not just around diabetes, around everything. And anyway, you're a person who I feel like is out there trying to do that for yourself. And in a world where I can only lead the horse so far towards the water, right? It can get frustrating for me at times, just like I imagine for the people who made that game. They must have been frustrated at some point and thought, how do we get these people to take these last 2 steps? Anyway, when I see people doing that, it makes my efforts feel valuable. You taking care of yourself helps me to continue to do this thing. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but like it's very valuable for me too. And I really appreciate it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Well, just in general too, aside of the game, like just making the content for the podcast, keeping up with the Facebook group, coming up with different ways to say things, trying to keep up with how people want their content, having to go out in the world and do trips and business things. Like I just got done, doing like 3 different trips in like 6 weeks. And, I got home yesterday and I was just telling, like, we just put our bags away, and I got a call yesterday and the person says, hey, I'd like to team up with you for ADA, Friends for Life, and ADCES, the Diabetes Educators Conference, all next year. And I found myself putting it on my calendar. And I was like, oh no, I just got my bag put away. Like, and now you're making me think about this again. I think that's what needs to be done if you're going to reach people. And anyway, so that's what I do. And I need that energy from somewhere because I am trapped in this room, most of the time. So
wow.
I don't sometimes get the feedback I need to, motivate's the wrong word, but like power myself, I guess. Mm-hmm. And anyway, thank you. It means a lot to me.
You're welcome. I know you can't hear me nodding my head, but hopefully you can hear me smiling. And I'm very encouraged by the things that you've got going on for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel good about the thing I decided to do with my life, as an adult. And I would like very much, I want to finish up with this. I don't want to look back and say, oh, I used to do a podcast. I'd like to do this for as long as it's valuable for people. So
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
It's really awesome. Thank you. Well, okay. So where are you at? I think we understand where you're at with your diabetes. It sounds like you're doing well and you're still learning, but how does the cancer thing go? I asked a question earlier. I don't know that you answered me. Like, did you have to have your breast removed or is it, how did that work?
So yes, I finished chemo and then I had some things happen and I decided to do a double mastectomy. So after that PET scan that I had, I think they said everything looked like it resolved, but then there was something in the other breast and I was like, nope, not doing it. Take them both.
Yeah, we're not doing this again.
There's no more.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to give. So
you don't regret that decision, I imagine.
Not at all.
Okay. How long ago was that?
At least. That was August 16th of 2023. That is my anniversary of being cancer free. So I'm a few days away from that today.
Oh, congratulations. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was worried a little when we started talking today, when I heard your Chicago accent, actually, more than anything, because I just had my experience with cancer is limited to my mom. My family and I were on a vacation last week and we're returning home on a late night flight. We were out on the West Coast. And this older woman, I'm going to guess in her late 70s, is with her adult daughter. And the daughter's taking the mom to the restroom on the plane. And the mom's like, she's struggling down the aisle. The daughter's behind her, like half apologizing to everybody, half hoping her mom doesn't fall.
Yeah.
And it just strikes me that when my mom got her okay to move after her chemo and she wanted to move out with my brother in Wisconsin, we couldn't figure out how to get her there. She couldn't do the car ride. It was too long. We were very afraid of a plane because of this situation. And my mom and I ended up taking a train, an overnight train from New Jersey to Chicago, where my brother then picked her up and took her the last bit of the way.
That's awesome.
We're on the train that night and she got hungry and we had to make it 2 train cars to the car where the food was. And that walk was so difficult and reminded me so much of the woman going down the aisle. And it took me to that place in my mind, but I did a good job with it. I was like, I was okay. And then I could hear the woman behind me talking through the door of the bathroom, Mom, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then I started getting really upset.
Oh.
my wife is across the aisle from me, and
Yep.
and we're a very lighthearted group of people. And my wife looks over and goes, "Are you crying?"
Uh-oh.
And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Just give me a minute, cut me a break." But something had happened just before that. And she thought, she's like, "Is this dumb crying about that?" Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, "Give me a second." I was like trying to collect myself. And I told her, I kind of told her, I said, "That lady, she just reminded me of being on the train with my mom walking to dinner." And she's like, "And that made you cry?" And I said, "No." I said, "What made me cry is I realized that sitting on that stupid train's the last time I ever sat and had a meal with my mom." And it just like, it snowballed like that. And the amount of times that my mom's cancer experience has made me remember something emotional made me want to ask you, how is it getting back to life, or does it pop into your head a lot? That was actually my question. I told you all that to ask you that question.
I don't think about it a whole lot, except for when it's time to meet with my oncologist or have a scan, a CT scan.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I want to say is I mentioned that I went into DKA in July of 2023.
Yeah.
So I was finished with my treatments. And so surgery was scheduled for August of 2023. Since I was diabetic, most people have their mastectomy and then they go either direct to implants or they start the reconstructive process then.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was recently in DKA and they didn't know how I and my body would handle the diabetes and healing, I was not able to have immediate reconstruction.
Oh, okay.
I felt horrible because the plastic surgeon is the one who had to tell me. And I just boo-hooed in the office and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I had a 6-month delay. And there are a lot of people who choose to not have reconstruction. So they have their mastectomy and they stay flat.
Mm-hmm.
They may or may not wear prosthetics, have the form of having breasts.
Nicole,
but
I'm so old that the word falsies popped into my head. That was ridiculous.
But Scott, I'm older than you.
Were you fighting around that word too when you were looking?
No. But I did that too. So you never know how you're going to deal with something until it presents itself.
Yeah.
And then you have a choice to make. The choice is, are you going to sink or are you going to swim?
Mm-hmm.
And how you swim depends on you.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I really do. I think some people have sometimes implications that stop them from being positive, but for the rest of us, like, I do think you go where you point yourself. Usually there's a lot of value in not giving up and waking up every day fresh, making a good decision, following through, doing it again. What did you end up doing? Did you get reconstruction or implants?
I did 6 months later. So I was flat for 6 months. And then in February, I started the reconstruction process. So they put these expanders, they're like flat implants, and then they put saline into them every week or every other week to expand the tissues again, because they take all the tissue and the breast tissue. Right. And the skin is what I'm trying to say. They take all of that.
That skin's right on your breastbone when that starts, right? And then it has to just expand to make space.
Correct.
Okay. My question here is, it might seem like a tiny bit of a pivot, but you have such unique knowledge from like taking the health out of it aside, but just from a feminine perspective, sexuality, etc. Like, what was your findings living one way and then, having lived naturally, having lived before the reconstruction, having lived afterwards? Is there lessons in there that are worth sharing?
I'm not certain. In some regards, I'm very matter of fact. Kind of, it is what it is. Did I like being flat? No, but it was a means to an end and I got through it. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I wanted to have the prosthetics so that I could have that femininity. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, if people ask, I tell them my story because it can help someone else. There are people around me, family members of friends who are going through it, have been through it. So we all try to share and encourage one another.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because if you're scared, you're looking for resources to be reassured.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can provide that to someone, I want to.
But you were aware, you keep saying flat. It strikes me oddly, but it's your word, so I'm going to go with it. So with that flat time, were you aware, just going out in the morning, like, did it strike you? Like, I wish this isn't how I looked? Or did it make you feel any sort of a way? Did you feel like people noticed, or that somebody wouldn't be, I don't even know if this matters, but somebody wouldn't feel the same way about you when they saw you? I'm really interested in how that made you feel.
I didn't want to go out without anything. I didn't go outside flat.
Okay.
My insurance, I have some pretty decent insurance, and they had a contract with Nordstrom. And so you go to Nordstrom and you get it fitted for your prosthetic.
Okay.
And so they get you bras and try on a couple of sizes, and you like what you like. And then they send that home, and then they make a pocket with the bras for the prosthesis to go in there. So, it's a few weeks deal. I took the time to do that. Some people are okay without. I think that's part of who I am as a woman. So it was important for me to have that in the gap.
My last question is, did you do the tattoo for the nipple, or was that not necessary, or did you opt out of it?
I have not done anything yet. It's been a full year since I got my implants. And so I'm, I guess, waiting for the scars to fade a little bit more. But I want to do the tattoos. I don't want to do the reconstructed nipples.
Okay. And will that be covered by insurance?
Technically, no. Yes and no. It has to be a certain amount. And by the time you pay for it, they're going to pay so little. But everything else was covered.
All right. Well, that's something. How long do you think until you do that?
I don't know. I'm not in a rush. It's not a big deal.
Gotcha. Okay. That's
probably next year, though.
I got you. So you're not in a rush, but you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. That's just not information a lot of people have to share. So I appreciate that. Yep. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that we should have?
I don't think so. It was a wacky way to get to where I am. There has been, I asked you early on, had you heard of anyone else who had a similar situation to mine? And you didn't remember someone else, one of the group experts, might have been Nico or Sylvia, came in and said, well, yeah. And I listened to an episode that you recorded with another woman with a similar story. And while it is not prevalent, we are out there.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate. I guess the medications help so many things. So what's the takeaway? Your life or diabetes?
In retrospect now, if somebody would have said to you, look, here's the medication you're going to have to take for the cancer. It's going to give you type 1 diabetes, but you're going to be alive. You would immediately say, oh, okay, like, yeah, let's do that. But as it's happening to you slowly, it feels like it's happening to you, right? Like this went wrong, and then this went wrong, and then this went wrong, and then this went. I mean, you had 4 things go wrong in pretty short order, as far as I can tell. Like you got cancer, you chemo that probably destroyed your thyroid function. Then somebody tells you have type 2 diabetes. No, it's not type 2 diabetes. It's type 1 diabetes. That's 4 things pretty rapid fire happening to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Aside of all the other stuff that we're not talking about, which is you have a job and a child and things you enjoy doing that probably got ignored for a long time while you were making your way through this, and just generally feeling terrible. People don't talk about it very much, but like chemo, did you get the bone pain from the chemo?
No, I did not. They give you a couple things like this 24-hour patch or something. I think it's called Neulasta. And there's things that they give you to take so that you won't perhaps be plagued by it. But I didn't have a whole lot of that.
Did you get that follow-up medication after chemo that comes in an Omnipod?
Yes, I think that's what the Neulasta.
Yeah, right. I remember
what it's called.
My mom called me. She's like, I'm wearing a pod just like Arden. And I was like, all right.
I don't remember it being as big, but it might have been.
Yeah, it's made by Insulin. I don't know that it's the exact.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an Insulin. That's the other thing they make actually is for that medication. That's a delivery system. Did you get restless leg syndrome? No, that's great. It's great that it worked well for you like that. My mom probably had restless leg before, but it got significantly worse afterwards.
And I didn't really have any neuropathy. Sometimes I have in my right arm, like my index finger and my thumb, I have a little tingling, but I haven't like determined what that is. I don't have any other after effects other than creaky joints, but I say some of that is age, and my chiropractor and my acupuncture doctor have helped tremendously, and I'm feeling a whole lot better lately.
It's awesome. Hey, listen, I didn't ask you, I almost said we, like there's a group of people over here that failed to ask this question, but the chameleons and I didn't ask you. Is there any autoimmune in your family, or do you think this is all generated by the chemotherapy?
I personally think it's generated by the chemo. My great-grandmother, my mother remembers a little something with her blood sugar dropping when she was older. They had moved her here to Chicago, so it was maybe the end of her life. I'm not sure how old she was, but they remember that, her shaking and having to have something sweet, but they don't recall like being a full-on diabetic. And she was elderly, so
hard to know.
I don't know if it was really diabetes.
Are there thyroid with people in your family?
No.
So just some bad luck then. Okay. Yay, bad luck. Your story makes me feel good because the way you're talking about it, the attitude that you bring to it, the effort that you put into it, it makes me feel like other people could do that as well. And that's what I need here on my end is I need the hope that people are out there fighting for themselves the way you are.
I think that they are. I think fear is a motivator, good and bad. Some people let fear stop them from moving forward, and some people take it as motivation to move forward.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting position to be in, the one I'm in, where I don't know who I'm talking to when I'm speaking. I feel like it's very important to say, I know that everybody doesn't respond the same way to something. At the same time, I don't think that it helps anybody not to say what you just said, which is, sometimes people are faced with something and they rise up and sometimes they don't. But if there's a pathway to rising up, I think we should share it with everybody so that as many people as possible can take advantage of the idea that you don't have to give up and give in. You don't have to take the first thing that's said to you. You're not brittle because somebody told you were, and everything else in between. It's important to keep educating yourself and keep demanding help, not letting people just draw a line on a piece of paper and go, okay, we give up on this one because brittle is the one that's sticking out from from your conversation. I mean, you could have heard that and crumbled and just stayed there. Can you imagine you'd be living right now with your blood sugar bouncing all over the place like it was? Like still?
Nope.
Yeah, that could have happened. Because it does happen to people. It could have happened to you. So anyway, I want everybody to take Nicole's energy and go throw it at whatever's trying to get you today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where do you think you got that from? Do you think it's upbringing, just how you're wired? Do you have any idea? Did you go through something hard that taught you how to be hard back?
No, my mom, my dad, and some religious upbringing, but yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. Just kind of how you react. So you react to other things the same way?
I do.
You do? Okay. All right. This is awesome.
I've heard that one thing that you said, it was something about you come out a winner most times.
Yes. I have said that. But it's different when you hear somebody say it back to you, though.
You might say it in a slightly different way, but first time I heard somebody say that, I was like, that's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. You do too. And so it's not a bad thing, but I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah. I really do believe that when I try, most times things go pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You can philosophize about it and go deeper and say, I think I'm making reasonably good decisions along the way, and that's why things are going well. But I also think that just doing things, moving forward is success. And it can be easy to look at the things that went wrong along the way and say, everything's out to get me. I can't win, whatever would come with that. And I have plenty of those things. If I chose to focus on them right now and listed a ton of my failures for you, you could easily make the case that look, this guy just fails at everything. But it's not the case. And I think it's as simple as that when I was growing up, I know we don't think of people making money as successful anymore. Everybody's mad at everybody who has, made $1 million. But when I was growing up, like that's the line. That was the Mendoza line. Like if I'm going to win in life, I have to make $1 million. Like I was poor, and that's how it occurred to me. And I heard somebody say one time that I think they started 3 businesses and bankrupted each one of them before they made a success. And now they made $1 million. This is back in the 80s. And I was like, oh, like, so the person tried something and failed and didn't just go, okay, I'm a failure. They tried it again. It went bad again. And again, it went bad a third time. And they still kept fighting. And that struck me back then, even as like an early person in my early 20s, like the failures just data in, right? And
yes,
even the trying is moving forward. Even if you try and fail, you still learn something along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 20 years later, I watched one of my kids, working out for All-Star Baseball or softball. I forget which team it was. And every year the kids would get these practice shirts because they practiced every day. So they give them all these T-shirts to practice in so that you can keep them laundered. And they get a saying on the back of them. And I think one year it was, we never lose. We either try and we win, or we fail and we learn, or it was something like that. It was like this long saying on everyone else's sayings were so nice and like short, but they had like a book on the back of their shirt one year. And I thought that's what that rich guy was telling me on the, 20 years ago. He was like, hey, listen, you're alive anyway. You might as well try. You know what I mean?
Well.
Like you're going to get up anyway. You're going to live a whole day. You might as well put some effort into it and see where it gets you. That's kind of how I think about it. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Indeed. I was taught nothing beats a failure but a try.
Really? That's simple.
Gotta try.
That would have been nicer on the back of that shirt. I don't know where you were that day, but that shirt was wordy.
But it had impact, so that's all that matters.
I think the next year it just said down and dirty. So somebody gave up. They were like, oh, we wrote a book last year. Let's keep it simple this year. Oh, my gosh. Also, while we're talking about this at the very end, I'm going to throw out there that Erica's daughter made all-star softball this year, and I hope it went well. So and if anybody knows Erica from some of the mental health stuff, her daughter's out there playing softball this summer. And awesome. I haven't checked in with her, but I'm going to. All right. I'm not going to ask you why you think deep dish pizza is pizza, because that's reductive. We all know it isn't.
I don't eat deep dish pizza. I have diabetes. I don't have the hang of that yet.
Yeah, you haven't figured that one out?
No.
No. All right. Well, come to New York or Philly or something. You can have a nice, thin slice of pizza. It's pretty easy to bolus for. All right, Nicole, thank you so much for doing this with me. Will you hold on 1 second, please?
I will.
Thank you. Head now to tandemdiabetes.com/juicebox and check out today's sponsor, Tandem Diabetes Care. I think you're going to find exactly what you're looking for at that link, including a way to sign up and get started with the Tandem Mobi system. A huge thanks to US Med for sponsoring this episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Don't forget, usmed.com/juicebox. This is where we get our diabetes supplies from. You can as well. Use the link or call 888-721-1514. Use the link or call the number, get your free benefits check so that you can start getting your diabetes supplies the way we do from US Med. Dexcom sponsored this episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Learn more about the Dexcom G7 at my link, dexcom.com/juicebox. I can't thank you enough for listening. Please make sure you're subscribed or following in your audio app. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Hey kids, listen up. You've made it to the end of the podcast. You must have enjoyed it. You know what else you might enjoy? The private Facebook group for the Juicebox Podcast. I know you're thinking, Facebook, Scott, please. But no. Beautiful group, wonderful people, a fantastic community. Juicebox Podcast, Type 1 Diabetes on Facebook. Of course, if you have Type 2 or you're touched by diabetes in any way, you're absolutely welcome. It's a private group, so you'll have to answer a couple of questions before you come in. We'll make sure you're not a bot or an evildoer. Then you're on your way. You'll be part of the family. If you're looking to meet other people living with Type 1 diabetes, head over to juiceboxpodcast.com/juicecruise, because next June, that's right, 2026, June 21st, The second Juice Cruise is happening on the Celebrity Beyond cruise ship. It's a 7-night trip going to the Caribbean. We're going to be visiting Miami, Coco Cay, St. Thomas, and St. Kitts. Yeah, the Virgin Islands. You're going to love the Virgin Islands. Sail with Scott and the Juicebox community on a week-long voyage built for people and families living with type 1 diabetes. Enjoy tropical luxury, practical education, and judgment-free atmosphere. Perfect day at Coco Bay, St. Kitts, St. Thomas. 5 interactive workshops with me and surprise guests on type 1 hacks and tech, mental health, mindfulness, nutrition, exercise, personal growth, and professional development. Support groups and wellness discussions tailored for life with type 1. And celebrities, world-class amenities, dining, and entertainment. This is open from every age, newborn to 99. I don't care how old you are. Come out. Check us out. You can view staterooms and prices at juiceboxpodcast.com/Juice Cruise. The last Juice Cruise just happened a couple weeks ago. 100 of you came. It was awesome. We're looking to make it even bigger this year. I hope you can check it out. The episode you just heard was professionally edited by Wrong Way Recording. WrongWayRecording.com.